So you want to see the first level of Halo 4 done on Legendary All Scores On? Well, hold on to your hats, because that's exactly what I'm going to show you. Welcome, I'm RC and this is the first level of Halo 4 Dawn on Legendary All Skulls On, or LASO as it's also known. You can see all the 13 skulls are on there, and Legendary Difficulty. As far as I know, I'm the third person to do this. A couple of other people have done it already before me, that I got a couple of tips from, and also link you to them, so you can go and compare our runs. I think mine is just about the fastest, because I had the benefit of their experience. Fortunately, there's not much action in the first couple of minutes, so if you want to skip ahead to the observation deck, by all means do that.
Been out for a while.
Where are we?
We're still adrift on the Dawn.
First few areas, all this talking bit is exactly the same on Legendary All Scores On as it is on any other difficulty.
I rewrote your firmware while you were
Obviously she's talking about upgrading your firmware, and there's supposed to be stuff like flashing on your screen and all fancified HUD and stuff with extra bits that are impossible to read and don't seem to serve any purpose to the player. But with the blind skull you can't see that. You can still see your arms in these first person sort of mini cinematics sections, but weirdly you can't see your arms when you're actually holding a gun, which is always disorientating about blind.
We've got intrusion alerts lighting up on multiple decks.
So grabbing that little pistol there in the first area,
Best bet to figure out who's boarding us is the observation deck, 4 floors up.
that's just going to help a little bit with the first fight.
Wouldn't bet on it.
The observation deck I think is probably the hardest fight really.
4 years, 7 months.
I mean it can be pretty random really. And you'll see when I get to it in my run that it was actually, I got pretty lucky, and the second elite from the 2 phantoms that dropped down,
How close are we to the
I actually got really lucky with him and managed to take him out really easily. But if you don't get lucky, then you can be running around chasing him for ages before you actually get him into a position where you can assassinate him. And plasma pistoling him in that room isn't particularly easy, weirdly enough. This is exactly the same. Just gotta follow the little hints as he's looking into all those different sides and stuff. There's no extra reduced amount of give in the time tolerances or something.
I thought we had a truce.
Second hardest bit is the bit just before the last area. You're inside, there's 3 elites where the concussion rifle is. That's a bit down the line. Obviously you want to take out the elite first. And since I've already got a pistol, I can start taking out these grunts from up here, which is still pretty easy on LASO. Trying to get my shields back here because I lost it a bit. Now I see there's 3 left, so take out 2, and then I'm going to run and get back my shields. I think it's about 4 melees, which is about the same for crawlers as well, once I get to those. Now here I was wondering, like, I had some trouble with the second elite last time. Maybe I can create some sort of barrier, block line of sight so he can't see where I am as easily, and then maybe sneaking around behind him. And then I eventually realized that when the 2 phantoms come in and flank you, and obviously they smash the windows and the whole area loses pressure, and so the boxes go flying. So this was ultimately futile. But you can move them fairly easily with the boom skull on or Sputnik. I can't even remember what it is these days. They've changed it like 4 times over the last 4 games. Whoops, didn't mean to drop that. There we go. See, I can see my hands there, but not while I'm holding a weapon. It's really weird.
It's possible we just came across a rogue salvage ship.
Just admiring the animated scenery. Uh-oh.
Or we
Bad animated scenery.
entire Covenant fleet.
So the first of the 2 elites, pretty easy. You can stand in behind tubes as they're coming out. You can assassinate them just as they drop down, and they're still sort of trapped in their animations. They're not really aware of you. And then you can take out a bunch of the grunts like that come with them as well. So always on the side nearest to the inside of the ship, otherwise you'll get the hatch splattering you and you don't want that. Then should be able to backsmack most of these grunts. Can be a little tricky, they seem a bit weirdly solid sometimes, like hitting them and it's not really doing anything, not reacting. So grunts are next priority because you don't want to be dealing with them when there's still the elite around, especially if you want to melee dance with them. As I said in my run of Shutdown, there are no like ultra grunts equivalents like there were in Halo Reach, where you had to headshot them once to get their helmet off and then headshot them while the helmet was off. Got really lucky here, so he just went up there, didn't realize I was there. There's actually some cool bloom like lighting going off his head or something. Yeah, it must be really filled with dust or something.
We've got bigger problems.
And I was meleeing him there because he was the one that gave me the trouble on the last couple of runs before this. And I was like, oh, why are you so easy this time? So easy. He just went up there. It can be much harder than that. One of the other ways I did it was picking up plasma pistols and sort of having, while he was chasing me around the room, overcharging him. It takes 4 overcharges. And I think you only really get 2, maybe 3 out of a single plasma pistol, so you had to keep swapping them. That was a real pain in the ass. Open sesame. I'm gonna rush this second elite. Sorry, 4th elite now? Yeah, there we go. They're very eager with throwing grenades while the catch skull is on, which is actually really exploitable if you know what you're doing. They sort of get locked in the animation, they're always facing the same direction while they're throwing the grenade. So it's really, really useful to get in behind them and assassinate them. That applies to the knights as well, the Promethean knights, when you get to those on LASO. It's not as easy to pull off as it is on elites. Maybe that's just because I'm not as familiar with them. I've yet to have that pleasure on LASO. That's all the grunts there gone. There's just one more elite here. And I suppose I could have rushed in, but there were 3 grunts around. I didn't want to do that many. Taking some damage, still managed to get my shields. They're slightly less predictable, the elites in Halo 4 than they were in Halo Reach, but also slightly easier in a way. They don't have as many sort of kicking behind them animations, or they don't seem to use them very often. So if you get in behind them, you can circle around them almost indefinitely, keep meleeing them, until you do actually manage to get them full on their back and kill them. Now this was a tactic I got from, I think, or a Soldier's Run or Doc's Devastations, I'm not quite sure. I apologize, whichever one of you it was. This is like an old school tactic from LASO. Gather a bunch of plasma pistols and range shoot them while they can't see you. It's a bit similar to the end of Winter Contingency in Halo Reach, where you had those zealots in the final room and you were trapped in there with George. You got up on this beam and you're shooting at them, just peppering their legs until their shields went down. Pretty much the same thing. Actually using the storm rifle there, because it's got a fair amount of ammo. And plasma pistols, you go through them so quickly. Like, that was it. Like, that series of shots, that was my entire ammo. There we go. Took nearly 2 plasma pistols and a storm rifle. Nerfed plasma pistols so much, it's kind of disappointing actually. And then just grunts in here, no problem. It's kind of weird actually, because like they all see, almost all of them seem to have sort of helmets, but your bullets just go straight through them. Like, they're not particularly protective at all. So a couple more grunts in here, and then there's that elite. Again, I'm going to do the same tactic. Pick off the grunts, and then use these boxes directly ahead of me to get close to him, and then run around him and sprint him. I should have still full shields from when I assassinated that elite. 2 elites back. So I'm just looking for the grunts. There we go. And here he is. And then Catch is helping me here again. There we go. 2 jackals here as well that are a little bit hard to kill. So I'm actually just going to run away from those for now. May come back to kill them, maybe not. I'll be surprised. Now this is either the hardest area or the second hardest area, depending on how your observation deck goes. My observation deck went pretty easy this time, so this is the hardest area basically in my run. And the reason for that is, apart from there being a fair number of enemies, the most you'll have to actually deal with on LASO in this mission. You don't have to deal with any in the last area, of course, if you've seen other runs by me on this level already. Bunch of grunts, some in the center rooms, some filing up the side, 2 jackals, a couple of jackals behind you as well if you haven't already taken them out. And then there's going to be 3 elites on the other side of this sort of central glassy building. I don't even know what to call it. Let's get my shields back because the dirty jackals damaged it. Two with just storm rifles, which are pretty easy to take out. You can move some boxes up and use those for cover. Particularly on the left hand side, there's a box that's pretty much already in the right sort of place for you to use as cover. Move up the hallway and then engage him in a melee battle. Which if you start out with full shields, that's fairly easy actually. As long as you're good with the melee battles. You do have to practice it obviously. But if you have experience from Reach, for example, it applies pretty much the same. Again, if you have a DMR, you can just shoot the jackals in Halo 4 in their wrist or in their hand, and they'll twitch and go ah, and they'll reveal their heads for you, and it's just like it's on Legendary almost. But on Mythic, because of the LASO tilt, is this elite? Yeah. See, that wasn't too hard. Retreat him back. The second elite actually came over to this side, which I was surprised about. I didn't expect him to. I was expecting having to deal with him on the other side. It's totally fine for me. And then there's just this one with a concussion rifle. Which you can ambush him outside of the hallway. See, that makes them look a little bit dumb when they're just running in circles at you. It's like, woo! That means I'm pretty much completed it. Just a slightly intense run in this last area. Picking up a BR just because, why not? A little bit of waiting.
Your left, out of the airlocks. You'll have to prime the launch for ignition.
Yeah, the jackals.
Cortana.
We have a DMR, you can hit them in the wrist, that's fine. If you have a pistol, that doesn't work. Or if you have a BR, that doesn't work either.
I'm sorry, did I miss orbiting?
So you just have to sort of duck in and out of cover, wait for them to reveal their heads for you, which does actually happen quite a lot. This last area, I'm just being extra cautious, going way around the outside. You could probably go much closer than this, a bit quicker.
Chief, you need to find the missile control.
But this isn't a speedrun. Again, if I develop interest in speedrunning Halo 4, I'm not sure how much I will develop interest in speedrunning it. This is just my completion of it, really. And then I'm going to actually crouch jump up here, jump, crouch, remembering it's on B. That screwed me up when I did my first speedrun of this. I was like, oh god, I've got to use the concussion rifle. Noob. Anyway, and then you can just run straight to the missile here, push the clamp. I can't remember what you do. You kick it? Yeah, you kick it.
The missile won't fire until it's cleared. Get down there.
Just being a little bit more cautious, sort of using a bit more of those blocks and cover, not running in quite as directly as I would on Legendary or lower.
You did it. Get back.
Man, that's a big missile. I'm showing that because this main section of the video is completely unedited. This is exactly what I saw
Chief?
in real time.
The Covenant weren't the ones scanning us.
So
And then that's all the
now
areas with
you
enemies that are actually a threat to you.
It's using a gravity well to pull us
There are still some explosions and random pieces of debris and stuff that can kill you in this final section. I know one of the other people that were trying this
Where are the closest
had
escape
that before them, unfortunately.
Aft vehicle bay.
I didn't. As soon as I got this far, I completed it. That was it. Ooh, data pad. Looks like a really old school calculator. So, don't think there's any more to describe here. Just being slightly more careful with my running through this section because obviously my shields don't recharge. Don't want to take any environmental damage and die. That'd be lame.
Just keep it pointed at that vehicle bay.
This was the second mission I did on Legendary All Scores On in Halo 4, I think. First was Shutdown. That's already on my channel if you want to go check it out. I've run on Reclaimer, which is fairly easy on Legendary All Scores On. That should be pretty sweet. There's a lot of tricks in that one. If you've seen my Legendary run of them, it'll be almost the same as that, but on Legendary All Scores On.
Hold on.
And then this is just cutscene. Unfortunately, can't die in cutscenes. And then after Reclaimer, I actually have to go play and complete a few more, so I still have more videos to release for you. Oh dear. Well, that's it. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned a few tricks in there, and I'll see you next time.